It's time to learn the simple steps to getting your equipment set up, powered on, and ready for action. Condux offers a sturdy tripod and mounting hardware designed for convenient operation on any job site. In the most common installation scenarios, this is the point where you'd be setting up for a crash test. So that's what Mike's going to show us today.
So now that we've pressure tested and proofed our conduit, it's time to get set up for the crash test. Here I've got our tripod here to help us out. So here's what our tripod mount adapter plate looks like. And we're going to want to secure this to the Gulfstream 250 drive body. And to do that, we'll go to our duct pack kit here, and we'll get out our hex key Allen set. So we're going to thread this into the bottom of the Gulfstream 250 here. Make sure it's good and tight. Now that we've got our tripod mount adapter plate fastened to our Gulfstream 250, we could take this and bolt it down to the tripod. Okay. So our Gulfstream 250 is secured to our tripod here. The 250 ships with a pair of wheels standard. Typically, if you're working with a dry cable, you can use standard wheels. But in the event you need more traction or more grip with your cable, say you're using lubrication or it's wet outside, something to that effect, Condux offers a couple different options for that situation. So depending on the size of the cable that you're using, we have a fatter tire for what we recommend 2 to 4 millimeter wet cable, or if you're working with larger cables, say 4 to 10 millimeter, we have a serrated wet wheel that'll offer superior grip and improve the performance of your Gulfstream 250. So if you're going to be using one of these wet cable solutions, I'm going to show you right now how we can quickly change out our standard for one of these options. So I'm going to use this serrated wet wheel here. The first step that we're going to want to do is quickly remove these guards. So the top one with a quarter turn on each side pops right off. And same on the bottom. 2 quick turns, take the bottom guard off. Okay, so with our guards removed, we go ahead and we can push in, turn, and pop out. Pull off the flange, take off our standard belt. We can put our wet wheel on. Install that over the pulley. Take our flange, put that back together the way that it came off. Take our wheel assembly here. Go ahead, slide it on, push, and turn back and make sure it's locked into position. So since I'm working with the wet wheel today, I can leave the standard belt on top. If I were working with the fat tires, I would put one on bottom and one on top. All of this is outlined in the user's manual. After we've switched out our wheels here, we can go ahead and replace our guards. Take this bottom one, put it on there, and just do a little quick quarter turn. Here we'll take our top half guard, same thing, quarter turn, make sure it's nice and snug on there. So here we have about a 1 meter long piece of our duct that we're going to be installing into, and what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to cap the end or create some sort of obstruction that we can simulate a crash with. So here we have our end cap from our pressure test and proofing kit, and we're just going to go ahead and secure that on the end of our duct. So now that we've got a sample piece of duct obstructed at one end, we can go ahead to our duct pack kit and get the size of duct pack that we're going to be working with today. And here we got our duct pack for our size duct that we're going to be working with. We're going to go ahead and take our bottom half, the one that has the air entrance hole, and install that into the air block. So you'll notice our duct pack kit comes with O-rings. For our crash test, we're not going to need them because we're not going to be doing air. This is strictly to set the push force of our machine to prevent any damage to the cable in the event we hit an obstruction or crash into something. Now that we've got our bottom half installed into our Gulfstream 250, we can take our sample piece of duct here, install it, make sure it's up against the shoulder, and we can take this top half, bring it in, and secure it all down in the air block and tighten it up. So here's our rear cable entrance guide for the size of fiber that we're going to be working with today. We'll take the 2 halves, come to the back side of the Gulfstream 250, and we'll notice that we have 2 grooves that we can install this into. One is for the standard tires, one is for the fat tires, so it brings that back away from the wheel to avoid any rubbing or interference while operating the machine. So since I'm working with stator tires here, I'm going to bring it in as close to that wheel as I can using that inside groove. Position it correctly and secure it all together nice and tight. Okay, so now that we have our rear entrance cable guide installed and our sample piece of duct, we can go ahead and start the process of hooking up power. So I go to our Gulfstream 250 kit. I grab our power cord here, and I can thread the power cord into the back side of the Gulfstream 250. Okay, so I have our power cord hooked up to our Gulfstream 250. I can come and I get our battery clip adapter piece and thread that to our power cord. Okay, and with our battery clip adapter piece hooked up to our power cord, now we're ready to hook up power to the Gulfstream 250. But before we do, we're going to want to make sure our safety guard is down and our drive is disengaged and our speed is all the way down. So I go to our Gulfstream 250 kit and I grab the battery. Here's our battery pack. I go ahead, just slide this in until it clicks. We have power on our display, and that's set up for crash test with the Gulfstream 250.